We're going to San Antonio. Let me do a quick little. So if we have talked about this before, the story of Melissa Perez, who I'll just summarize the background real quick. At her apartment complex, she was going through a mental health episode. That's always step one of getting killed by the cops, is having a mental health problem. And she cut the wire of the fire alarm at her department. Mm-hmm. So clearly that's something you can't do. Police were called, and she started talking to the police. Clearly wasn't making sense. You could tell from the body cam footage that she has something going on mentally. So she walks away from the police. They're chasing after her aggressively, of course. Hey, lady! That's what he says. Hey, lady! Like, come on. And it ends up, she's inside of her home, and they are outside, but they're trying to access her home through the patio. So it's like, I know for me and Ashton, it's a very familiar looking scene, like these Texas type
Style
of apartments. Yeah. And they're just big, massive units, bunch of, and then you have your little apartment building, hers on the floor. You got your tiny little patio, and they're stepped into the patio. They're trying to break through the glass. She throws a candle at them, and then she holds a hammer and apparently like starts stepping towards them with a hammer. Again,
in her house.
She's in the house. They are outside the house.
There is a literal wall.
And there's 2 hails of gunfire towards her. They kill her.
And the reason why it's like a big fuss is because it's like the first option is death. And it's like all these, like, when these situations happen, then you have your options of which you can choose. They don't hesitate when it comes to killing somebody. There's so many different non-lethal choices. Step back. Maybe we recoup. Think about how we're going to go in without causing harm to anyone's life. Maybe we step away and de-escalate and then come back in. No, it's always just.
And that, I think you really nailed it when the fact that one of the options is you can just step backwards, and you instead choose the option to unload, like, that is really it.
And there's a wall in front of, but yeah, we'll get into this story.
So the trial has concluded of these 3 cops. So let's read up on what happened.
San Antonio, Texas, via Kin S5. 3 ex-San Antonio Police Department officers found not guilty of murder, other charges in connection with Melissa Perez's 2023 killing. The jury was responsible for determining whether the defendants, Alfred Flores, Eleazar Alejandro, and Nathaniel Villalobos, were justified in firing their weapons. The defense had argued the officers were in vulnerable positions as the confrontation escalated and called up witnesses who testified that the ensuing investigation was rushed and biased. The defendants were arrested and suspended from the force about 16 hours after the shooting. Police Chief William McManus at the time said their actions violated department protocol, but Ben Cifuentes, who was part of the defense team, said investigators fell short in how they reviewed the incident and who was at fault. Flores and Alejandro had each been charged with a count of murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault, and a count of deadly conduct. Villalobos had been charged with a count of aggravated assault and a count of deadly conduct. They were acquitted on all counts just after 3 p.m. when Judge Ron Rangel read the jury's verdict. Closing statements were delivered just hours earlier. Sorry, did you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to interject real quick. I mean, yeah, like, you know, not a lawyer, but like I just imagine, one, it's like, where to place the blame here? Because, like, again, if you see the footage, in my opinion, if you're unbiased and you're not cop pilled and you're not right wing pilled, if you look at the footage, it's just kind of completely inexcusable. Yeah. So I'm trying to make sense of this, like how much of it is like the jury just happened to be felt a certain type of way about whatever it was that made them lean that way, or is it because these cases, you know, it ends up being like very narrow interpretations of the law, and they ask the jury, like, you know, okay, we boiled it down to this based on this tiny little, it all hinges on this tiny little thing. How do you feel about this or that? And in that case, it would be like the laws in place are kind of stacked against the victims.
I mean, it
in
also
these cases.
could be, we're in San Antonio, Texas. Yeah. We live in a reality where it is tough to find someone who's not politicized one way or another. And, you know, in Texas, people are going to be, if they are going to be politicized, San Antonio is a larger
San
metropolitan
Antonio
area.
is a blue city.
Yeah, I know,
you
I know. So I'm gonna take away. There's caveats. Obviously, San Antonio is a bluer city, but it's still Texas in general. A little more pro cop.
Yeah.
Citizenry. So I'm not taking that out of the it's hard to find an objective. It's like hard to find objective people that are just in your jury pool. You can try to and the lawyers, they look for that. They look for someone who's like,
and the law is generally on their side. Like the police have broad leeway when their lives are in danger, or maybe even when they feel that they're in danger. The system is designed to, the best way I could put it, the way that I could put it that's like the least like, how we really feel is that the system is designed to allow the police to feel free to do their job without feeling constrained. So what that translates to, right, is things like qualified immunity. I don't think that was a part of this, but it translates into things like that where cops have these very broad protections, and then the jury is just asked, like, whatever the question may be. The question may be like, could you reasonably say this officer felt like he was in danger in that moment?
That's what I'm like wanting. I'm like, how come the vagueness of danger is like, okay, now let's define. Obviously, there's obviously obviously dangerous situations where it's like, oh, this person's life was directly in danger. There's a direct, if action was not taking place, direct result, someone would have died. And then there's like I don't know. I think you could have walked away from that. I don't know. I think you could have maybe. She didn't have you have a gun. Yeah. You have the gun. She had a hammer. You are man. Don't even get me started on like shit. Like
she's a lady. There's three of y'all counting the body. If you look at the body camera footage of the fourth cop that was there, you see three fucking cops right in front of him.
And literally, like the whole. Don't even get me to like the social, cultural shit where people like, because they want to have it two ways. People who are like kind of red pilled pro cop. They're also like, men and women, we're different. Okay, a woman needs to be protected. But then now when they cherry pick their arguments. Now that the cops involved, this woman is the most dangerous thing that's ever been seen on earth.
That woman was scary.
She right.
That woman scared me.
I pooped my pants. Scary woman. No, literally they have it. It's both ways. It's like women are women, men are men. Women are dainty little flowers who couldn't do anything a man can do. And then it's also that woman almost killed those three officers with her bare nail. And
I remember they mentioned somewhere that like there was a cop who was like getting injured by the glass because they were trying to break the glass.
She broke the glass with a hammer.
She threw the glass, throwing the candle thing. But it's like that is the level we're talking about. And again, whether or not, I don't know specifically if the question was whether or not the cops felt like they were in danger or not in this case. I was just like providing an example to illustrate like how these jury verdicts can come about so frequently, where a lot of times it might not be that the jury was just like people who sympathize with cops. It'll just be the way the laws are structured that what is actually asked of the jury is a question that is so narrow and so favors the police that these verdicts just come about because the juries are just like, well, yeah, whatever it is. Well, yeah, what did seem dangerous, whatever it would be. So let's just keep going here.
Throughout the testimony, jurors had heard conflicting accounts about the deadly confrontation and ensuing investigation, which a former sergeant called biased. Prosecutors argued the officers entered Perez's apartment illegally and used excessive force, saying their warrantless entry amounted to burglary of a habitation. That frustrated one officer who was on the stand for days before he pleaded the fifth, having said he was upset with the theory the state was formulating in the trial's early days. Defense attorneys countered that Perez had committed a felony earlier that morning, throwing a candle at an officer, which allowed police to make an arrest without a warrant. Last week's testimony included defense witnesses, retired Sergeant Lisa Miller, a 30-year San Antonio Police Department veteran who said she spent hundreds of hours reviewing the case. Miller testified that she believed the lead investigator, Detective Ronald Soto, rushed to judgment by securing arrest warrants just 16 hours after the shooting. She also told jurors that another sergeant believed the officer's action were justified, but was allegedly told by Chief McManus to stay quiet or face consequences, a claim that contradicts Soto's earlier testimony denying any outside pressure. I just want to say the reason why they're calling the arrest warrants just 16 hours after the shooting like rushed. That's because it's a situation where you look at the footage and immediately go, oh yeah, these guys fucking did not have to kill this lady.
Yeah,
that's why it wasn't rushed. It was just so obvious, and then the machinery of police unions and all that shit gets involved, and now
it seems like that's sort of the absurdity of all this. It's like. On one side is the system that's very complex and obviously favors the system itself, which is the police. And on the other side is just like the reality of you just look at this raw footage and it's just it's crazy. Yeah. And like even in this article, it really is implying that what was being argued was not just the footage that you see with your own two eyes. It's like, oh, whether or not they needed a warrant to enter, it's like, yeah, whatever. Like that's a legal argument. Like I don't know the law that well. I don't know, but as a human, you just see that it's one lady who you see is suffering a mental health episode and 3 cops outside on the other side of a wall, and they all start unloading on her, and none of them are charged with anything. They all get off on all counts. That's insane.
Something that's like objectively, like you see with your own eyes that like is common sense, and then it gets put into this machine, and it's like, okay, they're able to reframe and reformulate. The law is not objective. The law is not. It's built for for results it wants, damn near. So like, yeah, we sit here in confusion, like, what the fuck? I saw the sky is blue, and then they're like, actually the sky is red, and I have lawyers who are testify against the sky being blue, and it's just, we feel gaslit, we feel insane. Why? It's another day in America, just feeling fucking psychotic, trying to process how they're able to get to this conclusion when you look at the footage that's just so obviously they killed that lady. But I'm going to finish this. Officer Travis Thompson, who responded to the scene that night, testified earlier that he and Villalobos were answering a call for an officer in trouble and that one of the officers had been hit by glass. Jurors were shown body camera video of the chaotic moments before the shooting. Basically, 3 cops got off scot-free killing the lady.
Yeah. So RIP to Melissa Perez.
Yeah. Remember, don't have a mental health episode in America if you don't want to fucking...
Yeah. And, you know, the family, I mean, that's just fucking brutal. Like one of the reporters I was watching said that, like, the daughter, like, immediately, just got out of the courtroom, like, right when they announced the verdict. Didn't talk to any, no one in the family has talked to the media about this yet. I haven't, because no one in the media none of the family has talked to the media yet. We don't know like what their next steps are, if they're going to take any next legal steps, if they're going to try to appeal this decision. And the only thing I saw on anything happening in some sort of aftermath here is the defense, is the KAWPS defense attorney saying, kind of vaguely threatening, saying that they're thinking about what they're going to do next, whether they're going to file like a countersuit against the city or, you know, keep going with their victimhood over here. So that fucking sucks. No real way around that.